Guys, listen, we are back. Welcome, 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 welcome. I'm just super excited about another edition of what we call the She Talks virtual talk show. Listen, I am your host, Kenyon R. Dudley, and we have another phenomenal conversation that we are going to engage in on tonight. This platform is all about staging and platforming and giving voice to women, reminding them that they matter, reminding them that the work that they are doing matters. And it's all about bringing phenomenal leading ladies, phenomenal leading women to you on this platform every Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Listen, I need to get the numbers up. You know how we do it every Thursday. When you see me go live, you come in, you say what's up, you say hello in the comment section, and then guess what? You share this broadcast, share it out to all of your pages, share it out to all of your friends and family. Click that link and go ahead and give it over to them in the text messages. Let them know that we are live, because this is a very important hour. 60 minutes of empowering women, 60 minutes of lifting them up. And not only that, but 60 minutes of allowing phenomenal women to come on this platform and to voice what it is that really God has given them to voice. And so tonight is very, very important to me, because we're talking about a topic that's really, honestly, near and dear to me, just as a brother, as a man, right? What we're going to be talking about is wise wives build. Now, I know that's a lot. That's kind of like a tongue twister. So let me put it up there on the screen. Wise wives build. You do not want to miss this. It does not matter if you are a wife currently, or if you're praying to become one, preparing yourself to become one, or maybe you are one already. It doesn't matter where you are on the spectrum. This conversation is for you ladies tonight, all of you. So again, go ahead and share this out. Let us know that you are here in the comments as well. I see Lisa Palmer is here. Good evening. I see Sylvia Reed. Hello, how are you? Anita, I see you guys in. Again, just go ahead and share this out. I'm going to go ahead, while you are sharing this and getting your coffee, or going ahead and getting something to drink and relaxing, to listen in on the conversation and participate, right? We want you guys to participate in the comment section. I'm going to go ahead and introduce our special guest. She is a friend of ours, my wife and I. Not only that, but she has been connected with many things that we've done throughout the years. We've had the opportunity to watch the things that she does as well. And we so totally back everything that she does. Not that she needs us to do that, but I'm just saying, like, really, you guys know that if we talk it up, if we connect with someone, it has to be kindred spirit. We love we love what the person is doing. And Coach Cassandra, OMG. Coach Cassandra Williams is, I think she's a humble individual, but not only that, she is a powerful woman. She is a powerful woman. She is an author. She's a minister of the gospel. She is an entrepreneur, a certified life and empowerment coach, and all of the above, right? Put your virtual hands together. Come on, clap it up in the comment section. Give me some fire emojis. Let me know that you are ready to receive our special guest, none other than Coach Cassandra Williams. Coach, how are you?
I am doing great. How are you? I'm so excited to be here tonight.
Listen, I'm great. That's number one. Number two, I concur. I'm excited as well. I'm excited as well. And it looks like the ladies are too. They're over in the chat. Abigail, welcome in. My wife has jumped on. And so it looks like they are very much excited as well. Listen, I want you, Coach Cassandra, just for a quick moment, why don't you introduce yourself to the group, to the crowd, those ladies who are listening in? Who is Coach Cassandra?
So I am Cassandra Williams. I'm affectionately known as Coach in these here social media streets. I I have been married for 24 years. I know I don't look that old, but I've been married 24. It will be 25 in November. And God has given me a mandate to fight for the family, to teach wives how to build so that we would be able, because I want you to be able to build the life of your dreams and then be able to live in it.
Right, right. I love
Yes.
that. Build and live it.
Build
Not
and
only
live in it.
right, not only just building something, because that's a big deal though, because a lot of ladies are just thinking about how can I build something, but it has to be authentic to who you are.
Absolutely.
Love it,
Absolutely.
love it, love it.
Mhm.
So, talk to me a little bit about. Let's just jump right into it. I'm going to start this conversation off right. Talk to me a little bit about where did this concept come from? Because you're talking about wise wives build. In other words, women who are wise, right? They know that when you become a wife, when you get into that position or that role, that you have to be able to have some level of ability to build something. Where did this concept come from? Talk to me, because it's interesting.
Okay, so Wise Build was birthed from a place where me and my husband, we got married. He's my best friend. And, Cinderella taught us that, we live happily ever after.
Right.
You meet him, you get married, you ride off into the sunset, and everything's great, right?
Right.
That's where it stopped. They rode off into the sunset. Well, that's not really how life works, right? And so for me, I was not always prepared for what came with. I was prepared for my wedding day. I was
Hmm.
not prepared for marriage. And
Wow.
so once we got married, there was some seasons where I couldn't go to marriage ministry because my husband was like, I'm not going. I
Right.
couldn't go to the singles ministry because I was a whole married woman. I
Yeah.
couldn't go to the women's ministry because they was listening in and I'd be telling stuff that they needed to come get my husband. So for me, God took me on a journey and I walked this thing out to rebuild my marriage, to be the woman that God wanted me to be so my husband could be the man that he needed to be, and that we could have this union that God wanted it to be from the very foundation of the earth, right?
Right.
And
Right.
when I got into that place, God told me, He said, now that you have overcome, build what you didn't have.
Mm.
So Wise
Mm.
Wives Build is a safe space for women to come in that may be complicated.
Right.
Things
Yep.
might be good, but
Hmm.
sometimes you just need to be in a room full of people that just be like, I get it, sis. I get it.
Yeah.
I'm not happy today. Okay, but we expect you to be happy tomorrow. We
Wow. Yeah.
expect God to move on your behalf. We don't
Hmm.
expect you to be in that same place next week, right?
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
we not only do we support you, we cry with you, we celebrate, with you. And so I had to build what I did not have in that season of my life.
I love what you are talking about right now, Coach, because a lot of women find themselves in that situation, right, where they start out with, "I need to be married. I want to be married," and to be honest with you, that's how you're kind of groomed and cultivated from birth. You're given a doll, right? And you're given the play set, and you're given the whole movies and the princesses and things like that who find Prince Charming and all of that, and then you ride off in the sunset. It's a whole thing, right?
Oh, yeah.
And it kind of conditions women to think about that happily ever after moment, the wedding day. Somebody chose me, I chose somebody. We're here, it's wonderful, it's beautiful. I like what Lisa Palmer says. She says that's what most do. They put more planning into the wedding instead of the marriage. But it's so true, because you get to the wedding day and you realize, uh-oh, we got to live after this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And not only do we have to live, but I gotta some way, somehow work with your proclivities and your inclinations, and you gotta figure out a way to work with mine. and we've got to somehow bring this thing together and build something that's better than us or that outlives us.
Absolutely. Because
What?
you don't get to go home now, right?
Right.
When we were dating, we didn't like what was going on. You went home. You
Right.
you know, good night. And you went home, you cooled off, y'all came back. No, now you're in the house with this
Yeah.
person. There's no running.
Yeah. There's no running. There's no really, there's really no leaving out of the bedroom. You don't want to leave, the bedroom, especially if it's new, right? And so talk to me about what are some of those things that you actually teach the women, because I heard you say you give them a safe space to feel the way that they feel and to be however they are that particular day. But you expect for them to be happy tomorrow. You expect for growth, evolution. What are some of those things that you teach and that you kind of give the women in order to grow in that way?
One of the things is we learn to control this right here in our
Uh-oh.
society.
Uh-oh.
We've kind of begun to we say what we want to say. I'm keeping it 100, and all
Yeah.
of these little soliloquies that we have that we say, but
Mhm.
we didn't realize those things were tearing our husbands down. They were tearing our marriages down.
Mhm.
Whenever you just walk in and you say what you want to say, how you want to say it, and they're supposed to just deal with it. So we come in and we teach. We're not trying to take people back to the 1950s. That's not what
Right.
we're not doing that. But we're bringing a balance to if you're talking, you're not listening. If you're talking, you're not being slow to anger, right?
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
so when we're talking, we may be missing something because I teach them that everything has a spiritual and a natural.
Okay.
So if I'm addressing the natural and I'm fighting you and I'm coming at you, I'm giving you back what you're giving to me.
Right.
You might be missing the enemy that has thrown a rock and is now hiding his hand. You're
Mhm.
missing the fact that, oh no, this isn't my husband. This is the little boy that's crying. This is the little boy that's
Mm.
crying out for help. This is something deeper than, okay, once again, he left that towel on the carpet. That is not what this is about.
It's not
And
about the
so,
towel.
right. So we teach them to hush. And
Mm.
that's just, and it's just take the time to sit with the Father and don't say anything, but
Mm.
watch. You know how they say watch and pray.
Mhm.
We watch and pray, we hush, and we allow God to tell us when to speak, how to speak, so that we can become snipers in the spirit. And then we become, and then it's one of those things of, we have to go in the back door sometimes. You can't go
Yeah.
head on.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
might have to sidestep. And then
For
sometimes
sure.
you have to know it's bigger than you. It's listen, this flesh that we live in as women as well
Yeah.
as men, but this flesh that we live in, God said it's got to die daily.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so we get past some of those things that we were taught. That's one of the other things I do. I disrupt social norms and
Mm.
things that we've lived under for years. I'm like, no, we don't have to do that. That's
Right.
not how we're going to do it. Just because mama did it that way, grandmama did it that way, great grandmama and aunties, and
Yeah.
now you brought it into your marriage, that doesn't mean it's right.
That doesn't mean it's right. Just because it's carrying on from generation to generation, right, does not make it law or doesn't make it God's way.
That's it. Yeah.
I love what you said. You talked about you are training the ladies to be snipers in the spirit. Whoa. Can we just wait a minute? Wait. we can't skate over that. Can y'all just type that in the chat? I'm a sniper in the spirit. When you said that, I immediately saw an army, right? That you're not raising up, and let's just keep it 100, right? In this moment, you're not raising up passive, weak women. You're raising an army that you're literally teaching them strategy. Because you can't be a sniper, and I'm just thinking, like, I watch action movies. I've got brothers who, we love action movies. And what you're doing is actually teaching them the language of men, number one, but teaching them the language of, I thought when you were talking, I said, these are boss moves. These are boss moves because you're literally teaching them when to be quiet, when to listen, pay attention. Okay, this is not what it looks like. If you see it from the outside, it's actually, it could be something else.
Yeah.
It could be something else. Talk about how imperative it is in this hour, in this moment, if you can, that we do raise a strong army of women.
A lot of times in society, let's just look at society now with the attack on men, right?
Yeah.
That we will oftentimes you will hear people say that men are no good. They're all the good men are in, men are in jail, this, that, and the other. And so we're
Mhm.
pointing the finger. But what God showed me was he said they don't have a place to grow. They don't have a
Mm.
place to shine because we're looking at what's happening in the streets, but in the
Yes.
home, they're being emasculated. In the home, someone has their foot on their neck. And
Mhm.
so he was like, no, we've got to give them a safe space to grow
Yes.
as
Yes.
wife. As a wife, you may have to, you've got to be strong enough to walk by his side, but you've
Mhm.
also got to be strong enough to stand in his back when he wants to quit and turn around and hold him up and say, no, that's not what we're doing. That's not. That's
Yes.
not the will of God for our family, and stand boldly in that to pray him through,
Mhm.
to give him grace as God, because most women, we weren't prepared for, we thought that they were going to come, he's going to come and he's going to be the king and he's going to have it all together. We, most of us weren't prepared to pray them through. We
Right.
weren't prepared, when the king was hidden
Come on.
in there. And so God is raising up an army of women that not only will fight for their family, they're going to fight for the men of God that now they can be, because when we are who we're supposed to be,
Mhm.
and we're in the posture, the original intent of the posture that we were supposed to be in, then men can be who they're supposed to be.
Right.
But they're not going to fight you for the seat. If he's supposed to be the head and you in the seat, he going to let you be there.
He's not gonna fight.
He's not going to fight you for it. He's going to be like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And be
If,
good
if,
over
if he's a real man, let's
it.
just say that. Like, if he's a real man and he understands his role as a man, 9 times out of 10, he is not going to fight with his woman. He's not going to do it because he's too cognizant of who she is and breaking her spirit and all of those things as well. So he's not going to fight with you.
Yeah.
He'll let it be.
Yeah.
I love what you're saying. Lisa says he shouldn't have to go to work to be attacked, then come home and be attacked. We have to be his peace. Oh my. Oh my. Okay, okay. Is it Taisha? I want to make sure I'm saying it right. She says, I was not prepared, but coach. Because, okay, and we're gonna take a deep dive. Okay, flow with me on this, coach. So we live in a society where even, I don't know if you know, there's like a movie that just came out, Barbie, a movie
Mhm.
that just came out, and of course, it's for the little girls and everything to come and watch. But what's going on right now because of this film, is a lot of backlash, and I'm going to tie it into what we're talking about tonight because the backlash is, they have certain scenes where, the girls are banging the Ken Barbie doll supposedly on the floor and saying, we don't have to be mothers. We don't have to be, who basically God has created them to be as young girls and grow up to be as women. And so the reason I asked the question of how important is it to raise up a army of women who are snipers in the spirit, who understand strategy on how to build their house, is because the enemy is tearing down the whole kingdom of family and household right as we speak.
Absolutely.
And so you are on the other end, though, building up a brigade of women saying, no, but this is how God meant it to be. We weren't supposed to dismantle or leave our positions as women. We were supposed to stand up as the helpmeet and as the one that is not secondary to the vision, but that's the co-laborer of the vision of the house. So can you dive deep a little bit about, you're teaching the ladies strategy on how to deal with their husbands, but what about strategy on how to build business and the house and all of that simultaneously? Is there a strategy to that? Should women be, focusing on one area? Like this Barbie movie is saying, hey, I don't have to be a mother. I don't have to be this. I could just be, one thing. What do you think?
I think we can do it all. I really believe we can do that. God had to break me from the this or this or
Yeah.
this, and he replaced or with and, because I was good with being one and then being this and then being this. God systematically gave me, I became a wife, then I went into ministry,
Mm-hmm.
then he gave me a business and gave us our son. He systematically gave it to me the way he needed to give it to me, because had he given me the children first, I never would have went into ministry,
I
because I was like, I ain't got time, right?
Right.
There would have been all of the excuses, right? And
Mhm.
so we have to know, but you have to be sure about what God has called you to do, not just what people say you're supposed to do.
Coach, stop there. Oh Lord. Oh, say that again. Say it again.
You have to be sure of what God is calling you to do, what he has ordained you to do, and not just what people are telling you to do, because that's a great idea, right?
Yeah.
Because what everything that your home needs is inside of you.
Right.
People would look at me and they'll say you're a strong woman, right? In one season, so I'm gonna give you an example. One
Okay.
season of my life, someone told me, you're too strong. I
Okay.
took that as Jezebel. So
Mm.
I went to an extreme, right?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so I stepped out of position of who God has called me to be in my household. And
Mm.
when I finally came to myself, and I was like, what in the world has happened in my house? My husband looked at me, he said, where you been? What
Woo.
happened?
Wow.
What's going on? And I said, well, so and so said this, so I thought you felt this way. He said, listen, he said, if I don't say nothing to you, don't you do that, don't you move. I need you to be, my husband's a truck driver, so
Mhm.
I have to be able to handle business. I have to be able to move without him being here, because that lets
Yep.
him be free to go out and do what he's supposed to do.
That's it. That's
And
it.
so as women, we've got to know what we've been called to do. You've got to be no you got to understand. And here's the thing, let me say this. Marriage is not cookie cutter. So you
No.
can't look at my marriage and say, "Oh, I want that." Baby, you might not be you might not be
Might not be ready for
great.
that one.
You might not be graced for that. They may look at you and Pastor Jackson, but listen, you may
A
not be
whole
graced
other
for that.
thing.
Listen, so you have to look at your marriage and say, God, I want to be the wife my husband needs.
Right.
I want my husband to be the man that I need. And
Hmm.
that's how we get back to that place of family.
Yeah.
The original intent, that's the word God has been dealing with me with. The original intent, not what people have chalked it up to be, but his original intent
Hmm.
for family, for marriage, for life. He's not trying to set us back, but we do have to do it in balance, because
Yes.
there's a lot of people out here that they want to be the boss. But listen, I might take a stage, and I might in ministry, as far as business, but when I hit that door, I'm his wife,
Yeah. There's an
and I'm
order
gonna
to
just,
it.
yeah,
Yes.
like
Yes.
he don't want the prophetess.
Yeah.
He want his
Yeah.
wife.
Yeah.
He be
Yeah.
like, listen, ma'am, I love you and all, and you're great, and he supports me.
Right.
But listen, I need you to be my wife when you hit that door.
Well, but that's the thing. That's the thing. And you know, my wife and I, we talk about this all the time. We've talked about it since we've dated and come up through some of our years. Is that hey, I I didn't necessarily marry the preacher you. I didn't necessarily marry the global sensation you. I married you, Jasmine, as a person without anything, and you married me without any of the things. And so I think you're freeing some ladies here tonight because a lot of times they bring all of the titles and all of those things into the bedroom, into the house, thinking that that's what he wants. And he fell in love with you.
Yeah,
He fell in love with you and the fact that you fell in love with him.
absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So what would you say to, since we're here, what would you say to a lady who has found herself in a moment where she's stuck? She's like, oh man, I think I've been bringing the boss home rather than the wife, the one who is the co-founder of the home, right? I think I've been kind of doing this backwards. What would you say to her? How does she begin to even get out of something like that?
Um, don't be afraid to say you're sorry. Go to
Mm,
him and say, hey, I'm sorry. I have not been, because it may not be when you come back. He gonna side eye you. Let me just
yeah,
prepare you. He gonna side eye you. He might feel some kind of way, but you have to be so invested in your marriage that you're like, babe, I'm willing to allow you to heal. I'm going to give you grace to heal, because
mhm,
now you're coming back and you're saying, babe, I'm sorry. I messed up. I was out of balance. Now that we're
right,
getting this thing into balance, now we've got to get back into our rhythm, because he done kind of backed up. Because
yeah.
let me say it like this. Your strength should never crush your husband.
Whoa, wait. Jasmine, she probably laughing right now. She know I love a good bar. That's bars. Your strength should not what?
Crush your husband.
Can y'all type that in the chat? Your strength should not crush your husband. Oh man. Okay.
Yeah. So if you're a strong woman and it's crushing your husband, that just lets you know you out of order. Okay. That's
Mm,
just it. You stand by his side. You've got to be strong enough to hold him up if need be. That's where your strength comes from and is for. Okay. So it doesn't mean that we have to be meek and feeble. And
right.
no, that's not who we are. So if you have found yourself and you're in that place, be willing to repent. First of all, to God
Yeah.
for getting out of order. Second of all, you may have to go to your husband and say, babe, I'm sorry. Allow him to call you to accountability, because
Mm,
you're probably going to do it's probably something is second nature. You're used to dealing with work, you're used to dealing with church, you're used to dealing with the kids. So you just making it happen and have tunnel vision. Give
yeah.
him permission to say, babe, you're doing it again,
Yeah.
so that we can begin to change the behavior. And once we change the behavior, because true repentance, just going to saying I'm sorry without a change of behavior,
Mhm.
true repentance is the turning away of from a thing.
Right.
And that's what we need in relationships. We want true repentance, the changing of the heart, right? Which
Mhm.
means that now we're going to change this. We're going to start to change this behavior, and he's going to have to get used to that.
Yeah.
He gonna be suspect. Listen, look, I'm side eyeing because he gonna be suspect. He gonna be looking at you like,
What
how
you
long is
doing?
she gonna stay? Is she gonna stay here long term? Is she gonna be here for a minute, a day, a month?
Right.
But you got to be invested, and you're gonna have to be intentional to let him know. I would have to physically say to God, I did it again. Ugh,
Mm,
let me get out of his seat, and I have to
mhm,
back up,
mhm.
move over here. And luckily, my husband was so gracious
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
me.
I would say this, I keep wanting to say Dr. Cassandra for some reason. I'm highly prophetic. What is that? I don't know. Okay, she says, listen, I got enough on my plate right now. Okay, so but here's a follow-up to what you just said. Um, you talk about being able to come back and repent and get back in your rightful place. I also look at this from a business standpoint. Like my wife and I, we're heavy in business, and so I, I cannot help but see a visual as you were talking of a business, family business. Like family is the construct, the unit of a family is a business, right? And in a way, and if the CEO is out of place, if the COO is out of place, if the operational manager, whoever, whatever you're supposed to be doing, if you're out of place, you're actually doing more harm to the business than bringing value, right? And so, just like in business, you got to be able to pivot on a dime, turn, shift. Say, "Oh, we were using this strategy. That's not necessarily working. Let's shift." You've got to be able to do that too, as the woman in the business of the family. Be able to shift and change so that the life of the family continues.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
You got a lot of women who are probably gonna listen to this. Maybe not those who are on, but they'll probably listen to this and say, "Wait a minute, coach. You talking about now? You saying say what now? Apologize? Can you give a practical way, to where because we're not talking about lose your dignity. We're not talking about again passivity and all of that. We're talking about being a boss, being the co-founder of your home, being a sniper in the spirit, knowing what moves to make. Can you give some sort of idea of how to actually go and repent to your husband on both sides, with the one who is not so ready to receive it, and with the one who will receive your asking for forgiveness? How do they do that? I know I'm throwing a lot at you tonight.
That you just come and you just be one. It's got to be sincere. It's got to be concise,
Mm-hmm.
and don't give an excuse.
Uh-oh, I love that.
Babe, I'm sorry. I have not been where I was supposed to be. Ministry. I'm going to use ministry. You use
Okay.
business. I'm going to use ministry.
Okay.
I went headstrong into ministry and I was in everything, right? And so my husband was beginning to have an ought with God because God was
Mm.
taking his wife. So
Yep.
God was like, so ma'am, I'm going to need you to take a little break and I need you to go home.
Woo.
And I was like, what do you mean? What does that mean? So I had to go into the meeting and say, hey, this is what God is telling me to do. I'm going to have to step down for a little bit and I need to go home. Now,
Yeah.
he didn't understand. My male pastor didn't understand. His
Mm-hmm.
wife touched me on the hand and said, baby, do what you're supposed to do. Do what you got
Yep.
to do. She
Yep.
completely 100% understood. When I got home, my husband was like, ain't you supposed to? So the first Friday, he said, ain't you supposed to be at church?
Mm.
I said, yeah. I said, no, I'm not going this week. I'm not
Right.
going. And he was like, and he got up and walked out of the room.
Yeah.
The next week, same thing. He said, you
Yeah.
ain't going to church? I said, no. He said, and he smirked that time and got up and
Mhm.
walked out the room.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there and God is like, you can't say anything. Don't say anything, right? The third time, about the third week, he looked, he said, you ain't going? I said, no, sir. He didn't leave the room. He still didn't say anything, but he didn't leave the
Oh.
room.
Yeah.
So God will give you what to say and how to do it. That one, I was just like, so then after like the fourth week, we had a conversation and I was
Mm-hmm.
able to tell him, sweetheart, I'm sorry. I didn't
Mm.
know. I thought I was doing what God was calling me to do. But now I know that I was out of balance. things.
Yeah.
And I gave him permission to say, hey, you're going to have to help me with this because my heart is to serve God.
Mhm.
I said, but here is my first ministry. So
Yeah.
if you see me get out of balance, help me.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, and I couldn't have had that conversation with him that first week because he wasn't ready to receive that. So if they're not ready to receive the conversation, his being willing to receive the conversation did not dictate my change of behavior. I still had to change my behavior. Because of
Yes.
me changing my behavior, he began to see, he's like, okay, she for real.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
And so he was watching, because sometimes, ladies, gentlemen, we can show them better than we can tell them.
Yep.
Sometimes that's the best thing you can do. Show him. That was one of the first things God said to me. He said, shh, SHH. He said,
Mhm.
show him how.
Okay.
He said,
Wow.
stop talking. He said, you're talking too much. And my words was causing division. He said, show him how. And so certain things, you got to be able to walk it out. So if they can't receive your words, it's okay.
Yeah.
Still walk it out. Be obedient to what God is telling you to do and allow God to transform their heart. You can't transform it. And you can't tell anybody how to heal.
Mm.
You can't tell them how long it's going to take. You
Mhm.
don't know the damage that it was done. You don't know how far back into their childhood or whatever you did, what that tapped into. You have
Right.
no idea. You ain't over that yet. No, he not over it. Because guess what? You treated him like they treated him when he was 5.
Mm.
And he didn't even know he wasn't healed yet.
He didn't know it. Sometimes guys don't know it. That's the thing. And I talk about this all the time, how society puts men, and I totally fully understand that women have sometimes unrealistic expectations placed on them as well, which is one of the reasons why I believe I've been called to kind of undergird and uplift. But talking about men and where we come from and the culture we live in, especially in America, we have unrealistic expectations of us sometimes. And then let's go ahead and drill down to Black men,
Yeah.
right? You're not supposed to cry. You're not supposed to show emotion. You're just supposed to get up and go and work and do. And no matter what happens in the house, no matter what happens around you, it's not supposed to get to you. Well, the truth of the matter is, it does. We just don't verbalize it as much. And if we do verbalize it, it's going to be through our actions, because mostly, come on, we dropping bars tonight. All the ladies being helped tonight, because mostly men communicate through action.
Yeah.
Right? We're physical. We communicate through action. You show up and you're consistent, whether or not you are missing the deadline. I'm telling you, and I just showed it just a few minutes ago as we were talking.
Mm-hmm.
My whole analogy was business, right? Because that's how, for the most part, that's how we as guys we're thinking. We're thinking technicalities. This is a business that we're running. If you're not in place, then I can't trust you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's real.
Yeah.
Right? And so you hit something when you said you showed him. I love this. You showed him better than you could have told him. By being consistent, you showed up and you did what needed to be done. Actions speak louder than words.
Yeah.
Actions speak louder than words. Okay, I want to shift for just a moment, because this question is a burning question that I know will probably help some of the ladies. So let's talk a little bit about gender roles and expectations in the house. So sometimes, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Coach, but I just believe that sometimes women are out of place because culture have painted gender roles and roles in the house so different from the biblical aspect. And
Mhm.
so they are thinking that they are doing good, but they are not. They think, well, if I just fix the food, if I just do this, do that, we're good, right? If
Right.
I just, and let's just, we're gonna get real. If I just give you a little sex, he good, right? Can we talk about gender roles? Because we know that they've evolved over the times. What do you think about all of this? You know, with women and the role that they should play. Should it be the old traditional way? Is it changing? What are your thoughts?
I think it really depends on your household.
Yes.
That's a conversation that you need to have. Esther's, I call them Esther's in waiting. Those women that are not married yet. You're in preparation. If you're anywhere in my vicinity, you get to come into the deep conversations, and so we're preparing you. So
Right.
hopefully, you won't be 40 trying to figure this out. That you already, you'll know going in the door. But as far as gender roles are concerned, there are certain things we're built for. We
Okay.
just are built for it, right?
Mm-hmm.
There are certain things, men, their posture, their shoulders, they're built to carry, right? Their broad
Mm-hmm.
shoulders and the way that they're just built. And so sometimes we want to do everything but what we've been created to do. And it's just because we've been conditioned, right?
Yep.
If you've been brought up a certain way, you probably saw, like for me, I was like, I'm not going to be that because of what I saw growing up. And so I rebelled against some things. But at my core, I'm a nurturer. At my
Yep.
core, I'm an encourager.
Mm-hmm.
But the enemy had me so tricked for so many years that I didn't like people. So I was at the
Mm-hmm.
opposite end of the spectrum, right? So when it came into those roles, but me and my husband, we talked about certain things. My question to him was this right here. I always ask myself, I said, if I can't deal with this, because I didn't listen, and I'm not against anybody that has had to get a divorce, anything like that. But I didn't get married to get divorced, right? So there was conversations we had before we got married. If this was your expectation of me, I'm not the one.
Wow.
And so
Yes.
I was like, if I can't, if 50 years from now this is not going to be okay, we're going to need to address this now before we get married. We're not going to wait 20 years in and then I'm saying, oh no, you've been doing it for 20 years now, it's not okay. No, that that wasn't what we were doing, right? So when you look at the gender roles, I look at it like this. What does your husband or your wife require of you?
Mm.
My grandmother cooked. She was to stay at home. She took care of kids in her house. So we
Right.
had breakfast, lunch, and dinner. She got up and made biscuits 2, 3 times a day, right? So we woke up and we had fresh biscuits before we left the house. Okay. But
Mm-hmm.
Granny didn't leave the house. Mama didn't work more than 30, 45 minutes from the house.
Yeah.
I commuted an hour and a half. I was not able to do what they are able to do
Mm-hmm.
because the times had changed. I was not driving an hour and a half to work and an hour and a half back and then coming in talking about, so I'm going to cook a full course meal. That just was not
Yeah.
happen.
It's a lot.
Right? But if
Yeah.
we stuck by the gender roles, then I was supposed to come in, and then some people try to require that of
Mm-hmm.
you, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
But you're not a stay-at-home mom. Their mom, the person you're being compared to, stayed at home.
That's it. It's
And so
it's
you have
it's unfair.
yeah, and so you have to have those types of conversations. And so what I do, what I tell the ladies is this right here. To be completely honest, you
Mm-hmm.
only have to do the top 5. What's their top 5? What what is it that you require? Because
Yep.
here's the thing, when we start saying you don't respect me, you don't do what I want you to, when men or women, when we start complaining, there's something we're missing. And doors are open because that person only has to do 20%. They only have to do the
Mm.
things you're not doing. And normally those are the things that's the most important. So
Right.
what are those top things that's most important? Is it that the house is clean? Is it cooking? My husband was like, babe, you ain't got to cook like that. I like leftovers. Cook on
Yeah.
you. I prep and cook on the weekends. And so you see what I'm saying?
Right.
So
Yeah.
he was like, no. And then there was some other things. I was like, I just can't get it all done. He said, who told you to do that? I didn't. I don't even care if you do
Yeah.
that. Well, mama and them did that, and this person did that, and that person, and that's what a wife's supposed to do, right? You're not
Mm-mm.
their wife. You're his wife. So what is it that he requires of
Yeah.
you? What are the important things to him? And that's what you do. Because as long as you do those five, everything else is a cherry on top.
Yep. It's extra.
It's extra. She the best thing since sliced bread, right? Listen, she the Proverbs 31 woman. And then you know how to prioritize
Yeah.
your day instead of trying to get it all done and getting nothing done.
I think that is so it's pivotal that you are teaching this. You're talking about this tonight. I think it is bold of you to teach this because you're really liberating people from social constructs and norms that really have caused splits and divorces. It has because if you think about it, ladies, times have changed.
Mhm.
Times have changed. You're so right. I mean, you're competing against women that was in the 1900s. We're now in the 2000s, well into it.
Right. Who said he
We
can't cook, right? He
who
might
said
like
he
to
can't
cook.
cook?
He might
Hello,
like to.
I'm gonna let y'all
Let
in
him
on a little
cook.
bit. I'm gonna let you in on a little bit on the Dudley house because I hear people ask Jasmine this all the time. How in the world are you doing this? You got two kids, you got a husband, y'all got all these businesses. It's unrealistic. What the heck are you doing? I am a very different guy. I
Mhm.
will get in there and I will cook, and before she gets home from the meeting, it's already done. You
Mhm.
get what I'm saying? And then reverse. If I gotta go to the meeting and I get home, she's already cooked something. It flows with your house. I love how you put that. Whatever flows or floats your boat as far as what your husband says, or as far as what you even as the wife is saying, that's how you run your business.
Mhm. Yeah.
That's how you run your business. Or else you run the risk of going bankrupt. Right? You
Yeah.
run the risk of going bankrupt. I like what you said, and I think some of the ladies are also liking it too. They said, "Wow, I have to find out my husband's top five."
Mhm.
You gave him something there. Top five, and honestly, you'll find out that we are so simple. We are. We're so simple, and depending on who your man is, is what that top five is going to be, right? And what that requirement is going to be. Let's reverse it though. How do you? And I'm gonna throw this zinger in here. How do you communicate as the co-founder? Because that's what I'm calling it, right? The co-founder of the house. How do you communicate your top five to him? Let's say you aren't married yet and you're having the conversation. How do you communicate your top five to him so that he knows whether or not you guys are going to be good partners moving forward?
Don't do it angry. First thing.
Right.
Don't do it in the pressure cooker moment because then your heart will not be heard. Your emotions will.
Okay.
Okay. So the first thing is set up a time, have meetings, have
Mm,
those check-in meetings with your spouse and say, hey, let's go to lunch, let's go to brunch, let's go to dinner, something like that. Hey, I need to talk to you. And it's
right.
just that check-in time and say, this is really, say, how am I doing as a wife? I used to do that, when me and my husband was really when we were rebuilding, we did it
Okay.
like every 3 to 6 months. I was like,
Mhm.
how am I doing? I'm checking in because
Right.
I need to be right. And so in those moments, he would say, well, how am I doing? And I would say, hey, I would go to him and I say, babe, I really need your help here. But you got to be sure, you got to be clear. When dealing with men, ladies, clear and concise. You can't change your mind next week. Once you've told him this is it, this is what he's going to do. And he's going to do it to a T. So you can't be shaky. Well, no, I meant like this. You've got to be clear and concise
So pray about it before you say it, right? Pray
right.
about it.
Be 100% sure. What I was telling them, one of the things that was really big for me recently is my husband. My husband's a truck driver, so literally he's only home 36 hours. Or a little bit more. So my thing is, when my husband asked me, he said, what you want for Mother's Day? I said, time.
Love it.
I was like, I don't need a purse. I don't need another purse. I don't need no shoes. I don't need no perfume. I don't want no flowers because they make me sneeze. I want you time with you. And just you and me, not even family time. I want personal time with you. And he looked at me, he stopped, I said, it can be going to get ice cream. I don't care.
Yeah.
And I left it in his lap. And he was like, okay.
I love that.
And so you have to take those moments when you're asked, be ready.
Yes.
And you may have to drop it a couple of times, but don't nag, and you can't twist his arm to get it.
Let it be natural, right?
Just let it be natural. Just drop it and allow God to turn their heart and allow God to minister to them and to really show them what it looks like. Because sometimes it's outside of their comfort zone. So they got to get their whole mind right to be able to do some things that we ask them for. They're like, what?
Yeah. Because the truth of the matter is, we were conditioned a certain way, right? And so by the time we get to the marriage, there are just certain things that, honestly, that you all are asking right now in 2023 that they didn't ask my granddaddy for. They wouldn't have dared ask my granddaddy for. Time? What do you mean, right? What do you mean time? And so this is good. Okay, listen, I'm running out of time. I got to ask this question, Coach, before I let you go, and then we're gonna talk about all of what you're doing, the phenomenal things that you're doing, because I want every lady to sign up. You got a conference or an event coming up. I want every lady to sign up if you haven't already. We're going to talk about that. Don't you go anywhere, because I'm going to give you information on how to stay connected with Coach Cassandra Williams. Y'all just begin to tell me over in the chat if this was valuable. I know it was phenomenal for me, but I want to make sure that you guys have gotten what you needed, or you ladies have gotten what you needed tonight. Last question, because there is some boss that is online, they're listening in. And to be honest with you, just like you, just like my wife, just like so many other ladies in 2023, they are bosses, okay? They help run the home, they are wives, right? But they also have, things that they're running, business, all of that. We talked a little bit about it earlier, with ministry and how to balance that and everything. But I want you to just take a moment, if you would. And I'm actually going to come off screen. I'm going to see if I can bring myself off screen. I want you to minister to the boss, the lady who is a leader in her own right. She has vision. She has ministry. She has all of the above, but she's a wife, or she's becoming a wife. How do they balance that? How do they stay in place at home, but stay in place in corporate America? How do they do it? Minister to some lady right now.
Okay. Sis, listen, you're killing it. And you can be strong, you can be independent, and you can still be submissive. And that just comes from your relationship with God first, right? Because God is always going to keep you in balance. He's always going to tell you which way. He said he has gone before you, and he's making every crooked way straight. And so as long as you keep your eyes on him, then he is going to lead you. He is going to guide you. And listen, ma'am, Don't be out here building that without your husband, okay? Or your future husband. Allow him to come alongside of you in what you're building. He may not want to be, you don't think he's listening. He's listening. Just tell him anyway, because one day he's going to come and he's going to have a great idea too. But allow him. Don't build him out. Build him in. Make sure everything that you are building includes him. My husband is my silent partner, right? There's God, there's me and my husband. You guys may not see him, but just know he there. He is there. He is never on the outside looking in, right? He is on the inside with me. And if you found yourself that you're like, man, we can't find that, I want you to go back to your friendship. Be his friend. Start there. Start at friendship. Go back to the basics of where you guys first met. Go back there. Go back and remember how your heart used to skip a beat, right? When he walked in the room. Go back to the place where you used to just watch him and smile. Go back to that place and build right there. Mistakes have been made, but there's nothing that God cannot overcome. And so he didn't call you to just be a wife. He didn't just call you to just be a mom. He didn't just call you to just be an entrepreneur. He called you to be a boss. He said that you can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. So yes, ma'am, I give you permission today to show up authentically, unapologetically, and be the best version of you that everybody needs, because you can do that. You can do that, sis. Go be great.
Woo! Go be great. Put that in the chat, ladies. Go be great. Go be great. You're a sniper in the spirit. You are a part of an army of women that God is raising up in this hour. I love it. And the ladies, they love it as well. She said, Taisha, she says, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Go be great. You can do it. You can do it. You can do it. If you need to fry the bacon at one moment, you can do it. If you need to go ahead and clean, you can do it. But then if you need to show up in the boardroom, you can do it. All of the above. I like what you said, Coach, in the virtual green room before we went live. You said, listen, we can have it all. As women, you can have it all. You are no longer in a place and a position where you have to choose. You can have it all. You've just got to have the strategy for it. And I know who's going to help you get your strategy together. I know who's going to help you go and be great in this regard. Guess who it's going to be? It's going to be Coach Cassandra Williams. Can y'all give it up for Coach in the chat? Just give me some clap emojis, some fire symbols. Let me know that you have enjoyed this conversation as much as I have. There's so much information that I want to, really ask and go over and pull from you and extract. But guess what? I'm not going to do that. They just need to become a part of your cohort and connect with your event. So can you talk a little bit about how they can stay connected with you? I know they can go to, we created a bit.ly link, bit.ly/all things Coach Cassandra. All right. I want y'all to go there tonight. Don't you lay down without connecting. And everything that she's about to share is going to be right there on the page. But talk about what you're doing next and how they can connect with you.
You can connect with me Monday through Thursday, 9:30 a.m. I am on Clubhouse, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you're looking for me, I am in a Clubhouse room. Thank you, Tisha. October 6th and 7th, the Great Exchange is coming. This is the second year. That is my annual event. And that is the time. I love social media. But I love when the ladies are able to come in and we're able to come in and connect live, and we can put our hands on you. We can wrap our arms around you. You can be in the room with sisters that get it. Sometimes, Cheers used to say that old Cheers jingle. Sometimes you want to go where everybody know your name, where everybody just listen. Troubles are all the same. Listen, that's what it is. We laugh, we cry, we do all of that at the Great Exchange. This year is going to be October 6th and 7th in the Norcross area. All of those things will be on that link. Get in the room. Listen, just get in the room. This year it's called Defining Moments. Defining Moments. And God made me a promise. He said, if they come empty and if they come hungry, that they will be filled. And we're going to bring you into sometimes we look at the war room and it's like, oh, that's just a place to pray. Oh, we're going to pray. But we're bringing you into a military war room, because that is the place where the generals and all of the leaders come to get strategy.
Yep.
To go back out and to make an assault and attack. So we're going to bring you into our little war room. We're going to bring you into the war room. We're going to give you strategy. We're going to give you tips. We're going to give you tools. We're going to give you everything you need to go back into your area, your sphere of influence, and take back everything that the enemy has stolen from you. So get into the room. There's also a bookstore. I have a Victory bookstore where you can get books and things of that nature. So yeah, just go to that link. Everything, click around on there. There's some free stuff. I believe in this right here. You have to know those that labor among you.
Right.
So I put a lot of things out there so you can get to know me in a short amount of time, because this is me live, whether I'm on a video, audio, or in person. This is me. So
I told y'all. I told y'all she is one of the most humble people we know. My wife and I, we've had an opportunity to work with her, and she's had an opportunity to work with my wife directly. And so I've just had an opportunity to watch, over these past few months or so, and just see, my wife, she works with a lot of different entrepreneurs and leaders, right? And some, I'm just gonna be honest, some not so humble. And some not so great to work with. They make it hard. But she remained humble and professional at every turn. And I just really appreciate that about you. That's why I keep harping on it, because it's rare in these times. It's rare in these times. There she goes. My wife, she says, hands down, she is amazing. And that's on that. That's on that. Again, I need you to go over the bit.ly/ all things Coach Cassandra and everything she talked about. The event, I see some ladies already said that they've registered. They're going to be there. Be a part of this event that's coming up in October. Listen, every Thursday, we are here. And guess what? We are talking to women just like Coach Cassandra. We are doing the hard stuff. We are talking about things that matter, things that really should be talked about on a regular when it comes to empowering women and growing them and helping them use their voice. Every Thursday, we are doing that here. And if you love what you experienced tonight, you will love my lineup that I have throughout the rest of the year. I've got some boss women. I've got some leading ladies that are coming to this platform, and they're sharing with you nuggets. They're not just coming to talk to me, but everybody who knows me knows that I bring quality, right? And they're coming and they're bringing quality information, revelation, strategies, things that you can implement in your life as a woman right now today to be successful and to walk out your God-ordained purpose. Listen, this has been She Talks. I'm your host, Kenyon R. Dudley. Let's say thank you again to Coach Cassandra for being here. We absolutely appreciate your time. And we'll see you back here, ladies, on next Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. She Talks. Tell somebody about it. Talk it up. Let them know we are here. Y'all have a great night.